Hello, Lils, and welcome to your deck review. For those of you joining us on YouTube for the first time, this is a series where I, Maldhound, known Yeller, will calmly and reasonably talk about Mr. House's weird little PP. That being your premise and your practicum. Your premise is the idea behind your deck. For this deck, it is a D&D themed slot machine. Your practicum is the stuff in the 99. Does it help you achieve that idea? So we're going to spend a few minutes talking about the premise, whether it meshes well with their pod, with their bracket level, with the themes they enjoy, and then we'll move into the actual card selection and what we can improve there. And so I've read the primer already, and I think the biggest problem is we're trying to bring Mr. House, and we're trying to bring a D&D themed Mr. House deck into a bracket that's too high for him. You're in bracket 3. I don't think bracket 3 is totally inappropriate for him, but your primer talked about people are winning on turns 4 or 5 if they get a good hand. Games are 30 to 45 minutes. I'm never king of the hill, but I can get set up and do stuff. Mardu artifacts can keep up with that timeline. Mardu artifacts can. Mr. House rolling d20s, I do not think can. I think the amount of changes you would need to make to enable yourself to go that fast are going to strip the they're going to strip the soul. They're going to strip the parts you like out of the deck with one little kind of half exception that I want to pitch to you. Because we have on theme game changers, some pretty powerful ones, but yeah, they work for what you're doing. We have a lot of really bad cards, right? Like the core disconnect here I want to get through to you is or not even get, I'm sure you understand this based on the primer, but that I want to uh recognize and I guess like validate as this is a real problem is with Mr. House, you are playing a bunch of bad cards to get a bad payoff. You are playing a bad card like, well, okay, Delina Wild Mage can't be a good card. You're playing a bad card like Chaos Dragon. You get a payoff that is 1/3/3. That's pretty rough. If and you said you had an infinite artifact loop in the deck before, but it didn't feel really satisfying. That's what I mean when I'm saying the upgrades we would have to do would take away the parts you like, because we can make it okay. You have a bad setup for a good payoff, but at the power level it sounds like your pod is at, the good payoff is going to have to be combo related. I set up a lot of dice and I go wide with artifacts, and my Securitrons eventually march in and cut your arms off. That can keep up at bracket 3. I don't think it can keep up at the specific subzone of bracket 3 you're operating within, unless, as we go down to your interaction section, not very much. We have a couple pieces of single target interaction. Unless you fuck this bitch up with board wipes. And that's going to sound naughty. You said in your primer you don't want to be like a dick to people, you don't want to like shut everybody down super hard, you don't want to win out of nowhere. Please hear me when I say, what is more thematic than Mr. House dropping the bombs before he establishes himself? So if that line of thinking can be folded into your theme and you think you can pilot that at the table with a smile on your face and you can like go, when you board wipe people, that is the path forward for how this deck is going to operate. Because the turn plan you laid out was, pray to God I get Soul Ring turn 1, so that I can play a Dice Roll Engine turn 2, so I can play House turn 3. You and I both know that's almost never going to happen. What's very reasonable to have happen, turn 2 I play a Mana Rock. Turn 3, I board wipe you motherfuckers. Turn 4, I play a Dice Roll Engine. Turn 5, I play House. Now I'm chilling. And we still have at least another turn or two in this game because I board wiped all your fuck ass setup. So that is the type, that's what has to happen. I think our interaction has to go from being single target to I'm nuking this bitch. And I think that's very thematic. I think I genuinely, it fits in with what we want to do. The problems that you may have with this is obviously it's hard to make being the table cop feel good. It is going to extend your game timers a little bit. I don't think it'll be that long. If people are already putting together wins in half an hour to 45 minutes, one board wipe is going to add maybe 10 minutes. And I'm just trying to add the 10 minutes where you get to have fun, because there's not a lot we can do to bring up the consistency of this deck unless we just like slam in every tutor in the game, every piece of fast mana in the game, and you're like, turn one mana crypt hoarding ogre, pass. That's really like our only option. And maybe that's what you want to do instead. Maybe you want to try that instead, like proxy a mana vault and play test it at home a few times and see if it feels better than one ringing. Because hey, vault in the name, that's a Fallout reference, right? Has to be. But what I really think the good path forward is you want to start caring about Toxic Deluge. You want to start caring about Battle of Bywater, which is Lord of the Rings, which is one of the themes we're trying to fold in. We're trying to for the YouTube viewers, we're trying to fold together D&D and Lord of the Rings because they're very closely related, and Fallout. So Battle of Bywater, already Lord of the Rings related. Maybe you have this. Maybe I'm just preaching to the choir right now. Battle of Hoover Dam, hell yeah. So what we need is shit like this we can cast on turn 3. And to cast it on turn 3... Oh, we have a lot of tags. Hold on. Maybe I am preaching to the choir. Okay, utility, utility, utility. Okay. We have quite a lot of stuff that is meant to help us once we're established. If the problem we're having is the games are ending before I can get established, and sometimes the game just ends before I do anything, we have to take a little bit of power away from how good is it once I'm established, and we have to nuke motherfuckers so that you have time to set up. So we'll get into maybe specific cards that I think are to win more. I'm just trying to make sure that I didn't miss you already having all these board wipes. It would be so dumb if I spend like 10 minutes preaching about how awesome and thematic these board wipes would be, and then you had a section that was like cool and thematic board wipes and all the ones I was going to reference. But I don't think we do. So there's that. I'm trying to think of other cheap ones. OTAG, board wipe, Commander, Mardu, mana value, less than, nope, that's a period, less than or equal to 3. Gonna be very, huh? I did greater than. I fuck that up in school all the time too. I don't know what it is about that syntaxing where my brain wants to think that the other way around. There's gonna be very, very little of these, but that's okay. Hey, Vandal Blast is worth something. Dam is worth something. Talked about Battle of Bywater. Black Sun Zenith isn't nothing. Final Showdown's pretty good if we want to, but it's not the right. Doesn't fit into the 3 properties we want this deck to fit into. That's a shame. Split Up can be really, really good. Okay, how do I sell this to you? Never split the party. Right? That's a D&D. That is a common D&D motto. You can say that as you cast this. You can be like, you know what, guys? I warned you. You should never split the party. Slam this, blow up all their setup. Playhouse. Good times. The good times are officially rolling. I mean, shit, nuclear. But the only problem with nuclear fallout is we would probably have to spend like 4 or more mana for it to be good. Maybe you could do it. A lot of this depends on the specific creatures your pod is playing that is getting them set up into that really early win. When I think of really, really early wins, I'm imagining things like a turn 1 Llanowar elf into, elf ball. I'm imagining like a goblin electromancer into storm. I'm imagining like goblin and narcomancer. Like I'm imagining cost reducers and ramp creatures, maybe even like the badger mole cubs now. And so if those are the permanents that are hitting the board early and fucking your life up, this is where we gotta be. Um, Other things we can do that is short of board wiping, but will extend the duration of the game, is remove more than one thing per player. This is Grasp of Fate, so it's from Commander Masters. This looks D&D esque, right? It's centaurs getting captured by magic. That's a D&D quest. I've played that D&D module. Um, so the other Scryfall tag that's going to be important to you is multi removal. We have to do things that can remove multiple threats because we cannot keep up. That is the truth that is going to set you free. The way you want to play this deck, there is nothing we can do to get you proactive enough that you are going to be satisfied and not feel icky about the combo loops that you're going to be engaged in or the number of game changers you're going to have to cram in. We have to slow everybody else down. How do we slow them down appreciably? We have to do a Fallout themed board nuke. And then we get to do everything on the timeline that we want to do it. And I really think it completes the loop on this whole theme. Arc Lightning doesn't do it. So I think I've called out a number of good ones. So I'm going to try to not spend too long digging in here. And because we kind of have this weird triumvirate of properties we want to respect, I don't want to make too many guesses about what you will or won't find appropriate. So I'm going to leave you with the Scryfall tag of multi removal and of board wipe. And you want to look for stuff you can cast early on turn 3 or turn 4. And then you're going to Mr. House. And if you are virulently against the idea of doing this, if you think it will be too mean for your pod, I'm going to argue it won't. As somebody who has one of those powerful decks that can present early wins, the games are oftentimes a lot more engaging for me when I have to fight through removal. If I don't have to fight through removal, what the fuck were we even doing? We just played a game of war and I got lucky. That's how I feel about it. Not everybody feels that way, but I reckon a lot of people do. I'm just home from a convention. I played, I think, 9 or 10 games of Commander over the weekend. It was all in bracket 3 or 4. Every game was really interaction heavy. The more interaction heavy games were more satisfying than the ones that weren't. The only game that wasn't interaction heavy was like the biggest slog because we got into this massive like gridlock situation and only like me and one other person were interacting versus the games where everybody was interacting. Bing bang boom, done, good time. um so what in here doesn't need to be here? I think the idea of Mr. House finding the One Ring is pretty funny. um Orcish Bowmasters. So the theme of the deck is like Mr. House builds the Lucky 38 in the Fallout ridden wastelands of Middle Earth. So Orcish Bowmasters could be there. They could kind of be like the super mutants. We pretty much need all of these dice rolling motherfuckers. Oh, if this is the extent of our ramp, yeah, you need these fucking board wipes, dog. For sure, you need these board wipes. Fuck Decanter of Endless Water. Cut that immediately. I might even cut Arcane Signet. I mean, it looks like a Pip Boy. Never mind. Keep it because it's a Pip Boy. Honorary Pinger. You could probably cut Brazen Dwarf. Again, just to survive. Like, he's fine. There's probably other stuff we can cut instead. Hold on. Let's go look. Right. Okay. Ramp, but it has dice attached. Yeah. Keep all these. Break glass in case of flying. I think Chaos Sphere is something that can probably go for a Fallout themed board wipe. Right, this is the same type of thing. You'd be playing it because you're being threatened by a lot of onboard damage by creatures, and right now we don't have any answers for it. We need to have answers for it. Removal now with dice attached. These are cute for the time being. If you really like all the other stuff in the deck, try cutting these. Why? Because these are the mana values that you're currently never going to get to. If you put the board wipes in and you get to these mana values again, and you're like, oh, now I want to play with these cards again, then you can fiddle more. But for now, like, we're almost always going to be land dropping. Maybe we play one mana rock. The games are ending too quickly. This is also really bad removal, right? Our opponents get to choose. Holy shit. Card draw. I mean, sure. I would probably recommend not Dark Confidant because I'm telling you to board wipe everybody. So we do want these to be non-creature draw engines. I think Caretaker's talent could, but it doesn't really fit. Yeah, no, never mind. All right, investment returns. Zorn can probably go. I believe in our ability to roll dice very consistently. I don't believe in our ability to make treasures highly consistently. Um, the hater in me wants to get rid of token doublers. Whenever a deck isn't working to spec, I always get rid of doublers first because my mindset is always, how do we get this to happen once? Very reliably. How do we get the happy thing to occur one time? And once we are like, this always happens, I always like it, but it never does enough to win. That's when I start considering, like, okay, how do I double it? How do I get an extra trigger? How do I take an extra combat? That type of stuff. And right now we're not getting there in the first place. So I'd probably dump Reign of Riches as well. These are really cute. These are really cute and they're pretty good cards. Um, I would cut Barbarian class. I think this is probably a holdover of when you had more funny D6s in the deck and you said you had to cut most of those, try to keep up with your table. Now that you have D20s, and again, some of this can just be for the time being. Some of the really fun cards can come back in as we get the deck working, but if the deck's not working, I'd probably also take out Will. I don't think D&D Advantage is valuable enough to you when we're trading it for another thematic thing, which is House Drops the Bombs, which I know is not like um necessarily the canon of what happened, right? But it is a thematic thing, and he's one of the suspects for it. Uh, I don't like Brave the Sands. I mean, the vigilance isn't bad, but I would rather. This implies to me you're getting dumped by a token player. I would rather run a sweeper for that. Black and red, very, very good at going like, okay, all the little shit, get out of here. So I'd rather be buffing my Securitrons. And that's actually, again, we can take it back to uh drop the bombs, Mr. House. We get our Securitron army big enough that we can drop smaller bombs that kill all the raiders but leave the Securitron standing. So if we get our Securitrons to, like, don't play this card. It's just the first banner I can think of. This is a bracket 2 card for Mr. House. Securitrons go up to 4/4. Guess what we can now do? Don't play this card because it's not going to fit your theme. We can anger the gods. Bird deck cooked. The tokens fried, gone. Securitrons standing strong, defending the lucky 38. This is the type of energy I would be bringing with this deck that I think can be successful. Uh, Menace is okay. Um, I don't love this because it's so expensive. I think this could go for a board wipe unless you're really, really attached to it. I would again rather make them bigger and drop bombs on people. And then 36 lands is enough. But let's look at some hands. So again, Ruinous Ultimatum. So we have Ruinous Ultimatum, which is good card, wildly expensive. We have Interaction that's bad because it has a D20. We have a Win More card. If the Win More card was a turn 3 board wipe, this hand might keep. We probably don't keep it because we cannot do repeatable dice rolling. But we would at least have a chance if the dice rolling card was something we liked better. This hand, hey, repeatable dice rolling, we love it. Pretty bad dice rolling. So perhaps what might need to go, I don't want to cut too many of the dice rolling cards, but a lot of these single-use dice rolling cards feel pretty ineffectual. That would be the next round of things that I cut, and I would just try to tutor, draw, or copy the repeatable dice rolling engines. For copying, it would usually be like a creature-based copy engine, like Ortheon, like Jaxus. I was recommending that. There's a mono red deck that I reviewed earlier today, so they're all in my mind. But we have a few creatures that have the attack trigger or have like an ETB. No, the ETB trigger is on the Geode Rager, who's terrible. Oh, that's rough. I think the place to leave it is these are bracket 2 cards. These are always going to be holding you back. And the trick is, what can we do to make you survive long enough that you can play them without feeling like they've lost you the game? And the answer is going to be board wipe. Now, if that answer has been bad for you for the whole like 15 minutes I've been talking about it, I'm so sorry. But in your primer, Mr. House wants 2 things after the bombs dropped, and you just have to be the one to drop the bombs, baby. So if anybody in the comments has a different idea, please let me know. But I wish you the best of luck, Lils, and I hope this helped.